Hello. Today we are talking about I don't get angry. Anybody ever say that? Like, I don't get angry. I know I said that to myself for a really long time. And I think what happens often is there is a confusion between anger and harming others. Sometimes we think those two things equal each other, that anger means that you are harming someone. You are harming yourself, you are harming another person, you are harming property. We as a culture, especially in American culture, we don't really have helpful ways of managing our anger. And so what we get demonstrated to us are these less than healthy ways. And so anger in our culture often exhibits itself, often shows up as harming another person with our words, with our bodies, somehow committing some kind of harm to another. But one of the things that I've learned about anger is, first of all, it's a tricky emotion. It generates a lot of physical energy that kind of wants to go somewhere, which is why we can disperse it and take it, get it out of us and put it out into the world. But it also is the great cover up emotion. Oftentimes, anger, there's a reason why there's a phrase in the coaching and therapy world that the mad pushes away the sad, or the mad covers up the sad. Oftentimes the anger is there as like a scab to the wound, and the wound that's underneath it is sadness, fear, shame. Something is underneath it, and we kind of can't get to healing whatever's underneath the anger until we've kind of moved through the anger. So I wanted to share a story with you about how I didn't quite realize that I was in anger, because once again, I'm somebody who spent a long time being like, "Oh, I don't get angry. That's for other people to do." And if you're someone who doesn't get angry very often, you may not notice the cues that come up when you are feeling anger. So, for example, this a week ago, my daughter's I picked up my daughter after the first day of school, and I asked her how the day went. She said it was good. It was just different, but it was good. I'm excited for tomorrow. And then she mentioned that no one had shown her where the bathroom was. And it took until she was at a point where she really needed to go to the bathroom when she finally asked where the bathroom was. Now, for me, as a former educator, my instant my instant reaction was like outrage. I didn't express that to her, but internally my mind was going, "What? New kid, first day of school, you knew they were coming and you don't show them where the bathroom was?" And I kind of asked a couple of questions about it, but it like just calmly, and it just gnawed at me. And I talked to my husband, and he was kind of like, it's first day. Maybe it was just an oversight. They had just gotten, they're getting back in their rhythm. And I was like, no, as a teacher, this is baseline. Like, this is a red flag. This is a huge red flag. I felt very righteous, like I was right. Um, and I was trying to gain like the other perspective, but I'll tell you, this energy of like, no, this is inexcusable. And I found myself feeling grumpy towards my husband, who was trying to, show a different side of things and help me think about things differently. And I was weepy and teary, of course, separate from my children. And because this was my issue, it wasn't her issue, it was my issue. And I was like, what is going on? I'm weepy, And I'm like, am I sad? I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, yeah, there's some sadness, like grief that we're in this new situation and yada, yada. A little bit of fear I recognized around, like, what does this mean for the rest of her school year? And I just felt myself very blamey about this teacher. And I called my sister-in-law. I left the house and I called my sister-in-law, and she's also a teacher. And we were both just like, what? How could this be? Like, as a teacher, this is what you do. And we were both like very righteous and both very sad for my daughter. And I heard myself when I was talking to her just dropping F bomb, fuck this and fuck that. And I heard my old therapist who said to me once, I often find that when the word fuck comes up, that sometimes anger is present. What do you think of that? And as I heard myself like dropping all these F bombs, I was like, I remember talking to her and I said, "Oh, I'm angry." I was like, "Lorraine, I'm angry. I'm so angry." And there was like a lift. It was like a release. There was something that shifted in me when I just was like, oh, I'm angry. Aha. And I was able to just kind of be in that. I remember I parked the car and I was just breathe through. I was like, oh yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry. And at that point, the sadness and the fear and the possibilities of solutions began to emerge. So what I want to share with you is like sometimes just feeling into the anger and breathing into it is all that is needed, right? Like, and anger is one, it carries a lot of costumes. It's like the Loki of our emotions. It's a trickster kind of emotion. But when I was able to fully recognize, like, I'm in anger, I'm feeling righteous, I'm feeling outraged, I'm feeling very blamey and judgmental, I'm feeling grumpy towards other people. I don't want to hear another point of view. I feeling a little resentful. So these are emotions that I often hear. Oh, I was frustrated. I'm resentful. Uh, I'm outraged. I'm upset. We use all of these words to describe something that at its core, that's lying underneath, is possibly anger. And when we can acknowledge the anger that's within, then something can relax and settle, and the grief or the fear or the shame or the whatever else, it's like we can't quite fully get to what's underneath because anger has like the lock. We just, when we acknowledge it, it's like we just unlock it, and then suddenly all the rest of the stuff can emerge. And that's a way then I was able to have a conversation with the teacher the next day without being harmful in my language. I was able to send an email without being passive aggressive, silent treatment, all of those other strategies that we use when we actually are feeling some kind of anger. And then it turned out it was just a misunderstanding. She thought the guidance counselor told her where the bathroom was. The guidance counselor thought the teacher was going to tell her where the bathroom was. She now knows where the bathroom is. All is well. So all to say, like, my brain could get back online after acknowledging that anger to be able to write an email that wasn't passive aggressive, that wasn't shaming, that wasn't blaming, but rather just saying, just so you know, she didn't know where the bathroom was today. I'm really glad she knows where it is, and I'm really glad she asked where it was, right? Because those are true sentences. And she immediately apologized. All is well. So anger, if you're someone who says, I don't get angry, I want you to take a look at yourself, do an inventory. Do you ever silent treatment? Do you ever passive aggressive? Do you ever shout at the dog or the kids when you really want to kind of shout at your boss or your partner? Do you Do you find yourself grumpy or frustrated often? Or do you find yourself just defeated because anger just seems like too white hot, like you just can't even go there? The door is so locked up. And yet, maybe there's regular betrayals that are happening to you that just feel defeated and down about. If so, I would just encourage you, you know, to welcome in the anger. It doesn't mean you have to harm anyone. You're not going to harm yourself. You're not going to harm anyone else. But just acknowledging that anger can go a long way. And yes, Jill, fuck can be used to express so many varied emotions. I think when I am righteously using that word, when I'm like, I've got a little swagger to it, then that's when I know anger is there. I wish you a wonderful week of feeling into your anger, of being with it, not harming others with it. If you need more support and strategies around that, trust me, my clients will tell you I do. I help them a lot around anger. Um, and I'd say also this week, or starting next week, I'm going to be doing these Facebook Lives at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And next week, I will be getting the keys to the house. Woo, woo, woo. So I have no idea. I don't know what's coming next week. All I know is that at some point next week, I will have keys to the house in hand, God willing. So wishing you all the best. I'll see you next week. Bye.